There are two channels for perfidy to take. Two channels, I say, and when it rains down like an earthquake with a handshake that makes 10 people feel metal on their biceps, we're gonna find there's a fortune in the hills. We're gonna take apart the mountains. We're gonna crack them like cranberries in the grip of an Arbor Day festival. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all of our entrancements and we're gonna spindle them together until what happens is, on the day where we remember what our grandmother used to make us in between meals and didn't call it a snack and didn't call it a snack lit, but called it an ober. And what are you going to say? What is an ober? Is it some Scandinavian language? I don't even have any Scandinavian people in my family. And so what we have to do is we have to say an edifice is never a receptacle. And we have to say nobody likes to park between Bentleys. And then we have to say, if I stand firm and plant this foot in Cincinnati and that foot in Dubuque, who is going to tell me that I waver when I sign the divorce agreement? And I don't think that when there's a piling or an impounding and you say bat, 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 and it becomes Babel-like in its magnificence, don't we have an obligation to spend our money towards the proliferation of dog collars? And don't we have an obligation to say, nobody likes when I crack my knuckles, and then they order pizza. And if they're ordering pizza and they put toppings on it, those toppings too can pile to Babel. And then we have a Tower of Babel made of pizza toppings. And what do you say to that? You say, excuse me, I was at the front of the line and you got to the front of the line and it's my turn for the snow cones. And I mean, everybody wants snow cones, but sometimes if you put toppings on the snow cones, it's going to be like, oh, there's grape, and then there's going to be that thing that they call blueberry, but they make it red. Or wait, is it the other way? Is it raspberry? They make it blue. One of them, they mix the colors up, and it's frustrating, and I hate it. But what if you put pizza toppings on a snow cone? And then you had climbing up to the heavens a Babel tower made of pizza toppings on a snow cone, and this would be as unstable as the present situation. Because nobody likes to mix the different things that they've found in various cocos that they've drunk at various stops along the way. And you stop in a hotel room, and you stop in an airport, and you go into your GK Billabuddies, and you say, that's a good coffee. And what if all of those coffees from all of the rest stops, all of the pit stops, all of the places in between the places you intended to go, what if that's all one coffee? What if in the end it all mixes together to create one coffee? And in that coffee is the crucial recipe that, when ignored, makes you unable to have a sepsis or a sewing together with an old-fashioned needle. And then you would have quite a hem, and everybody would admire the hem, and they would say, a hem. And everybody would, think that if they were following you, they would be encircled by a protective guy's wing. And then you would say, oh, I think that, you're going to watch me shake my waddle. And everybody would say, don't pretend that you're Ben Vereen. And so, I would have to take a muscle and sort of remove the bicep, and I would have to put a clock in it, and I would have to be able to go boop, 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 and put it back, and then it would be my bicep alarm, boop, 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 boop. And what would happen is I'd be in the midst of, let's pretend I would get into a tussle, but I wouldn't get into a tussle. But what else, what would be do sort of bicep work? I might do push-ups, I might, one of those silly times when a middle-aged man thinks, I'm going to do push-ups, and then they start to think, oh, I'm going to build muscles, and then they start to have a fantasy that someday, one of these days, they're going to look like they wish they looked when they were young. And then that's the time that the bicep alarm should go off. That's the time that you should be warned your promontory is disintegrating. Thank you for listening. Comments welcome.